Thanks. Welcome, everyone, to our webinar today titled Eliminating Risk from On-the-Go Fleet Purchasing, How the State of Oklahoma Uses Integrated P-Cards to Take Back Control, sponsored by AssetWorks. My name is Matt Grayson, and I am NCSFA's Account Executive at AMR Management Services. First, I'd like to get started with some housekeeping items. If you have questions for the Q&A portion of the webinar, please submit them to me, Matt Grayson, via WebEx chat. Your lines will be muted during the presentation to reduce background noise. I'd like to take this time to let you know about other upcoming NCSFA educational opportunities. The next NCSFA webinar will be next Tuesday, October 25th, presented by NJPA. The GPS Insight webinar will be presented on Wednesday, November 9th, and WEX will present a webinar on November 15th. Registration for all NCSFA events is available on the website at www.ncsfa.net. I'd like to thank AssetWorks for their valued partnership and sponsorship of NCSFA and for preparing the material for us today. Today's webinar panelists are Terry Zuniga, Fleet Manager at the State of Oklahoma, Tog Bogdanowicz, also from the State of Oklahoma, and Deb Hadley, Fuel Project Service Specialist at AssetWorks. Terry Zuniga has nearly 25 years of experience in the fleet industry and has been with the State of Oklahoma since 2005. As a fleet manager, her responsibilities include overseeing the acquisition, lease, operation, maintenance, repair, and disposal of the state's vehicles. Her key areas of expertise include system administration, customer relationship building, and communications. Recently, Terry contributed to the success of the multi-state CNG initiative sponsored by Oklahoma Governor Phelan, which saw the state's NVG fleet inventory increase from just under 4% in 2013 to over 12% in 2015. And with that, I will turn the webinar over to Deb Hadley, Fuel Project Service Specialist at AssetWorks.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning. I want to thank, first of all, Terry and Tom for joining us on this webinar and providing their expertise on not only the TRIPCard solution, but as well as their best practices within their own organization. To go over today's agenda, and I'm hoping everybody can see our screen okay here. We are going to be talking specifically about why the State of Oklahoma needed a solution and what that solution was and how it is working for them. We will also cover some of the hidden and not so hidden dangers of fuel theft and how fuel theft can impact your organization and how TRIPCard can help. And at the end, we will have a Q&A section. Why the State of Oklahoma needed a solution. I'm going to pass this along to Terry and Tom to provide their insight as to how they were managing and what their issues were with fuel and P-card purchases. Terry?
Yes, I'm happy to be here and making a presentation, participating in this. State of Oklahoma, my fleet is dispersed and spread out across the state, and it's general that we see those vehicles maybe 3 times. Once they're assigned, when they come in for a C maintenance, which is at a 60,000-mile interval, and then when they get disposed. So the transactions and history of events that happen through those fleet cards, and they're not part of my ordinary system transactions. It was important for us to ensure that our drivers had access, but that we still had control and security over costs. It was managing transactions within the limits of the cards was something that we needed to be able to achieve, and receipts coming in from the field, drivers were saving those receipts, but those fade over time, get lost. Memories are short when you ask a question about something, when you have to wait till the end of the month to get that answer. State of Oklahoma is also exempt from sales tax. And so sales tax transactions that are not prohibited by the card but are prohibited by the state needed to be managed, and that is much easier to do in a real-time basis as opposed to the end of the month. And the final thing that really was important to us is merchant translations are not always accurate. Sometimes a FleetCard transaction will report to us that a certain product or service was purchased when it turns out to be something else, and we're able to audit those transactions as they come in now.
Thank you, Terry. That leads us to TRIPCard. We have had a lot of customers come to us over the years and sharing these types of issues that they were experiencing. And AssetWorks wanted to assist our customers in finding solutions and doing it in a manner that would create the path of least resistance in getting that information they needed. And therein came TRIPCard. So what is TRIPCard? TRIPCard is a P-card. It's a branded MasterCard offered by AssetWorks that integrates directly with our FleetFocus product. MasterCard can be used for any type of purchase, fuel purchases, or parts maintenance and other necessities. It can be also opened up to use for other purchases if that is a necessity for the organization. How is TRIPCard different from other fuel cards? Because mainly it integrates directly with FleetFocus. You would have access to all of your purchase information within the same program without having to log out and into a different program. You have immediate access to pre-authorization transactions as they happen, and everything is available for you right at your fingertips, including reporting, dashboards, and billing information. TRIPCard works like a regular credit card. You swipe it at the point of purchase. The information is pulled into FleetFocus through web services. We then have a portal within FleetFocus that would show that information. The employee would swipe the card. The pre-authorization would happen as soon as that information is passed through the system as a authorized transaction or declined transaction. Once the transaction has been completed within 24 to 48 hours, as soon as it goes through the clearinghouse, that information is available within FleetFocus as a completed transaction. Anything that does not match what is currently in the FleetFocus database will be rejected for review and resubmission. You have many controls, such as fuel only, fuel at the pump. You can set geographic locations. You can set certain merchants or certain merchant codes. So you have a wide range of controls. There are alerts that can be sent for anything that falls outside of those parameters. And the information, as I said, is available in real time or what we call near real time because, of course, there's the 24 to 48 hour transaction time. So this card was created as mainly a fuel card, but we found that many of our customers were using their P cards for purchases beyond just fuel. So specifically, we worked with the state of Oklahoma to refine this program to bring the best of the best to our customers to provide solutions to the issues they were having. I will turn it back to Terry and Tom to explain specifically how TRIPCard has helped them control some of their issues and help them to be a little bit more responsive to issues.
Thank you, Jen. The benefits to this integration with M5 were clear to us. That near-time real integration into M5 and being able to manage those controls in that kind of a time frame was critical to the success of getting transactions that were odd or inaccurate addressed. We were able to quickly audit and address errors. We have, as part of our process, set up a morning and afternoon review of any kind of errors or sales tax or odd transactions so that those were addressed immediately with the drivers or with the merchants as necessary. We can look at data integrity, making sure that odometers are correct, that the products are correct. If there's any kind of translation errors, we can correct, something comes in of a CNG vehicle as a diesel transaction, we can modify that and approve it so that it goes through the system directly into M5. And there's a lot to be said also for having the ability to just log into one source. We log into M5, we have access to the TRIPCard and all of those functionalities without having to go out to a separate resource for that information, to manage those cards, to manage those transactions. We recently had an audit, a state audit of our FleetCard transactions, covered the last 3.5 years, and we had less than 3% share of non-fuel transaction exceptions that were discovered by that audit process, and a lot of that is due to the fact that we are able to manage those in real time. I had a transaction that came in just this last week where a merchant's equipment had failed and had actually billed us for 1,000 gallons of CNG, and I was able to address that immediately with the merchant. They went through, looked at their transactions, looked at their cameras to make sure that we didn't have some sort of monster vehicle that was actually pulling up to the pump and fueling those transactions, but we got a credit back to our card for that, so it was resolved immediately. And being able to look at complete purchase history, I can pull up any vehicle that I'm maybe I've got a question about, or there's some flag that has come up, and I can look at the history over the last year or any time frame within that last year for how many gallons, what kinds of product. Also can pull that same kind of information by the employee or the driver of those vehicles.
Thank you, Terry. Appreciate you sharing your story with us. I just wanted to mention once again, one common theme for all of this is the immediacy of information that is available to you, and that can help solve many solutions, including fuel theft, which is a big issue among I know many of our customers. These, recently, actually over quite a while, over the past maybe 10 years, it's become more and more of an issue as people become more crafty at different ways. You can see on this chart here that unauthorized purchases, detours, and personal use is one of the top 4 issues facing fleets and fleet managers today. It is a big problem. It costs companies a lot of money. No matter the cost of fuel, it is a big issue. And it's something that we strive continually to address throughout all of our products and throughout everything we do here at AssetWorks. We want to help our customers with the issues that they are facing. According to Walden Associates, fuel theft accounts for about 3% of the average fuel operations fuel budget, and that can take a big chunk. And being able to have information at your fingertips and within the programs you're already in provides another piece of the puzzle in trying to manage these issues. As we have found in some of our research, fuel theft is not an isolated incident. Or, the information we have here from 2013 through 2016, there are many, many instances, and I'm sure many of you listening here, participating today, have your own stories that you could share with us, and the time involved in hunting these issues down and trying to find a resolution and finding ways to control it. TRIPCard is not an answer. TRIPCard can help with your answers. It is meant to be, as I said, part of the puzzle to help you manage your fleet better. And one of those things is through providing a window into your purchase patterns with reports and analysis. You can take a look at decline patterns because you see them as they come in. You will notice 3 in a row. That's an issue. That's something I have to address. Who has this card? Why is this happening? Are they just keying their PIN incorrectly, or is this an unauthorized purchase? Does someone have the incorrect card? Fueling locations, you can see the locations where they are as the purchase is being made. The pre-auth information comes through with a city and state. So if it's someplace out of their normal jurisdiction, you can notice that and contact the driver then. If it's a time that they are not supposed to be fueling, you will be seeing that as it happens. Reject reports will show you if it's not just an error against it, against what is in the database. You can look at fuel economies. If the odometer that they're inputting at the pump is not matching, if it's way off of what is in the database in FleetFocus, or if it just doesn't seem right, if they seem to be using gas quicker than they should be, that's something else you can address immediately. You don't have to wait until a couple of months later when you're doing audits or looking through bills, or you found a receipt that doesn't look right. You can address it as it happens, and you don't have to wait for it to happen. Again, immediacy is a big issue in helping to prevent theft and unauthorized purchases of any type. Departmental controls is something else that TRIPCard offers, so that only the authorized people you have accessing the information to view this. You don't have as many eyes on the program. You only have your authorized users looking at the purchases, so you have better controls over that as well. Terry, I know there are a couple issues that we have on this next slide here that points out some of the ways that the state of Oklahoma has been dealing with issues of fuel theft by using the TRIPCard.
Yeah, this is Thomas, and let me help with this point. I think in this section, if I can emphasize, we also addressing two things. One is obviously that there are some intentional bad actions on the part of employees or drivers or whoever has access to the fleet card, but there also be possibilities for monitoring of just maybe bad behaviors. As Terry mentioned, first thing is carelessness of not paying attention to eliminate or request exemption from sales tax, and that may not be a case for all our listeners, but in the state of Oklahoma, sales tax is in place, so we have to make sure that when they go and buy, you know, to O'Reilly's or Napa just windshield fluid because of wipers, they're going to check that, and if they don't do it, the fact, again, as you point out, that we can check it out and get prompted that, hey, there's a reject because sales tax came out, after a couple of days tells us, okay, hey, driver, you know, you need to come back, ask for reimbursement, resolve that. That's how you control that cost that you could avoid that's unnecessary. So that's one thing. The second thing you can analyze is finding if drivers do not put sometimes premium fuel, which vehicle does not require, but they may think the vehicle gets better performance. So, you know, in Oklahoma you have 3 grades of fuel, 87, 89, and 91. And if we start seeing patterns, somebody driving with that, you know, 91 octane fuel, say, hey, you know, why do you put a fuel like that to Chevy Impala? That's not a vehicle that's requiring that kind of fuel type. But coming back to the fraud management, we set up, you know, limits how much each fleet card can be used up to. So that's a matter of cost. So somebody's not going to, out of clear blue sky, just pull off, you know, $5,000 transaction, even $1,000 transaction without us knowing this. When we use the fleet card for body shop, for instance, those usually require our override. So we're controlling the high dollar items of transactions. Second thing is quantity. Chevy Impala, out of the top of my head, you know, 18 maybe gallons of fuel that it's in the vehicle that can be accepted. If the transaction comes up with 25 gallons, it's a question, what happened? That brings up an alert that the threshold of quantity has been exceeded and we need to investigate it, what was the cause for that. Product limits, so we try to, our fleet cards have limitation on, you know, you can use only at the automotive places, so not any place. So when customers go for oil change, as Terry pointed out, we have a fleet that is dispersed around the state. If by any chance they go to Walmart for oil change, Walmart is considered as a grocery store, not as automotive business. At this point, we have a, you know, good discussion. What are you buying? Are you buying bananas or are you buying, you know, oil change? So, and when it's validated, we get a copy of receipt, then we authorize the transaction. The convenience, it's a big thing that we can really look in those things right away because it's a topic that's fresh in the mind of the driver. We can pinpoint. We can, when the case is, we can come back to the store clerk, say, hey, what happened, you know, a couple of days ago. And this case that here brought up about this 1,000 gallons of CNG. Some stores, they have monitoring system, the cameras that override the recording every week or every 2 weeks. Had we waited for a month, we would not have the ability to prove it that we did not come in with a big tank and sucked out 1,000 gallons of fuel from that site. That was just a fluke of their machinery, their equipment. So that helps with that. And I think it helps with us monitoring those cases right away, not living for the last day of the month, that all those transactions pile up together, checking all those sales taxes that, or, you know, issues with like concerned transactions. If that's left for the last of the beginning of the month, that becomes overwhelming. If you do a couple of days, you address them, you resolve them quickly. One way of finding, when you have some of the alerts coming to you that you have all of a sudden more rejects, then you start wondering what's happened with the driver. You start kind of questioning what is that case, and you start kind of analyzing, okay, when do they fuel that vehicle? What are the hours? What sites do they go to? We have, in partnership with AssetWorks, we have a GPS system through Verizon, so we compare was the location of the fueling at the same time where the vehicle was. So we start trying to pinpoint was the fleet card on the same side with the vehicle, because what if somebody takes the fleet card on the personal trip and they use it to fuel their vehicle on a trip to see somebody, Thanksgiving trip, I don't know, a different state. So that becomes helpful for us to monitor that. I already mentioned some declines that might be happening because somebody might be trying to put 50 gallons in Chevy Impala. So what are they trying to fuel? Do they try to fuel maybe their brother's F-150 next door parked on the same pump? You may wonder on that. Inconsistent fuel economy. Again, if you think that you have a Ford Focus and gets about 25 to maybe 35 miles to the gallon, why this vehicle has 5 miles to the gallon? So where's this fuel coming? So you may investigate those things, start comparing the miles driven versus fuel gallons used to figure out what is the story behind it. So there are a few angles on that that you can try to analyze if there's some mismanagement. And one last thing that we find out is, nobody wants to be caught on the audit report and be said as somebody as a suspect. But what we find out sometimes, our drivers share PIN for fuel, and when we start seeing that couple vehicles are being fueled at the same time, different locations, becomes the question, who actually drives this vehicle? And if you don't know who drives the vehicle, how can you prove who did wrong? So when we analyze that and start comparing multiple usage of the same PIN in a proximity of time but not proximity of location, then you start wondering and have an opportunity to have the discussion with the agency how can enforce integrity of the program, because as you said and we point out, there's no ability to make the program of TRIPCard itself as being a safeguard and provide you with full security, but how you use the information, how you play that intelligence to serve you, how you utilize the tools available at hand to dig deeper and discover possibilities of misgiving that actually result in higher costs for you and for your customers.
Thank you, Tom. That was a lot of information that was very informative and useful. We truly appreciate you and Terry sharing your story and sharing your solutions specifically and how the product has helped you specifically manage your fleet better. There are many topics we covered here today. I'm sure there are many questions that will arise from this. I just wanted to point out TRIPCard. The TRIP stands for Timely Reportable Integrated P-Card, and that is what the card was developed for and what we strive to continue to inspire with our customers with the use of this card and this program. And I also wanted to point out that there are two other features we did not touch on with the TRIPCard. With the the convenience features and the timely features, you are able to, within the TRIPCard portal, within FleetFocus, you are able to order additional cards, block cards, and activate new cards, as well as we have a one-time override feature. If a driver is out on the road, they are fuel-only purchases, and they get a flat tire, the administrator can go in, click on the one-time override button within the portal, and the next purchase would be approved no matter what it's for. So there are a lot of flexible options with the card. We feel it is a good full fleet solution for P-cards, and we welcome any questions. If you want more information than we are providing here today, or would like to discuss the program in more detail with a demo, you can contact us at communications@assetworks.com. I will now turn this back over to our moderator to address any questions. Thank you very much.
Yeah, there are a few questions that I've received here. First off, how are card numbers and other information managed within TRIPCard? Can card ordering and PIN issuing be managed within TRIPCard?
Yes, the answer is yes. The management, there is a screen within the portal to view the cards and the drivers and the assignments there, as well as the purchases for the particular cards, and you have access to all of that information within FleetFocus. I think I addressed all of that.
Okay, another one I have here, let me see. Can access to information be limited by users/divisions for various features?
Yes, that's a good question. You can have departmental controls so that different departments can access only the purchases and the cards within their department. We have administrative settings so that if there are different billing departments, you can access that separately. I know, Terry, you at Oklahoma, you do have different departmental controls do you have different logins for each one and have different administrators assigned to them?
Yes.
Yes. So the answer is yes.
Yes, the different logins, the different logins and the departmental controls allow them access to viewing their fleet information that is in the entire database. And through the TRIPCard, they're able to see only their fleet card transactions that are associated with the units that are assigned to them, either owned or leased, if they're a kind of a hybrid customer of ours.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's see, I have a few more here. Are there any project enhancements or future roadmap items that you can share?
We are currently working on development to assign work orders to the purchases and to associate maintenance purchases to work orders. So that is something that we are currently in development now. We also have mapping features. I'm sorry about that, Matt. We also have mapping features that is available within the portal in M5 right now and will be available in FA shortly.
I have another one here. Is there a rewards program for the TRIPCard, percentage back?
Not a specific rewards program. There are cash back incentives from several fuel retailers that we work with. I believe it's up to a 3% back. We also have a truck stop network where you are guaranteed the cash price using the card going through the truck stop.
Okay, great. That's, are there any further questions for our panel today? That's the ones that I've received.
Not at this time, but we can certainly stick around for, another couple minutes and while people are kind of thinking over what we just discussed.
Okay,
I can add just to those enhancements that you guys, or you that just said. it's something very important to us that we accomplish that, and we are very excited that that's being developed because, you know, when you work in if some of our listeners here are from cities, they usually have a centralized maintenance, but state fleets or maybe commercial fleets, when sometimes you go to the different vendors and sometimes unpredicted vendors to provide service, it's important for us to convert that job completed in the field to the work order history to give us a better maintenance history on the vehicle, what happens to it. So when the transaction happens electronically, comes through the trip card, we can convert it to the work order done in the field. We can track it, the story that, hey, this vehicle had this oil change done at this time, it doesn't need oil change at this moment, or some other things that we can address. So we are excited about the next step that the product is taking, and we're looking forward to enhancing our mission with that.
Thank you, Tom. And we truly here at AssetWorks appreciate all of the insight and the information that State of Oklahoma has provided to us in helping to refine and define this program to be a better tool for our customers. It is greatly appreciated. They have been a great partner in putting this program together.
Well, thank you, guys. It doesn't look like we have any questions right now, but I will be fielding any questions that come through to communications@assetworks.com, so feel free to send those, and I'll either respond myself or pass them